Hello, everybody. Tim here with another movie review, this time for a very anticipated one, Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. This is the newest film in the Star Wars saga and the episodic saga, and this time we're being directed by Rian Johnson, who also wrote the film, and it once again stars Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, and then again with Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Anthony Daniels, and then we've got newcomers, Benicio del Toro, Laura Dern. There's a lot going on in this movie. This is the longest Star Wars movie to date, and this is going to be a non-spoiler review. I'm not going to spoil anything in the movie. I'm going to be very vague about my thoughts because I want you guys to be able to see this movie with the least amount of knowledge before you go into it. Because there's a lot that's going on in this movie. I'm actually going to start with my negatives this time because there are very few of them, and because I think they're important to get out of the way right away. My first negative is, like I said before, this is the longest Star Wars movie to date. It's 2 hours and 31 minutes, and there are times in the movie where you can feel that length. It does get a bit long. And as a first time view, as the first time I've seen the movie, I didn't mind it, but I could still feel it. So I was thinking to myself, this might not be okay with me on a third, a fourth, a fifth viewing, which I know I'm going to do. So that is one of my minor complaints, is that the length you do feel it. There's never a moment in the film where I thought this is dragging or what's going on, this is dumb, like let's get back to this. Like, I was actually pretty entertained by every storyline of the movie. There is one storyline involving Finn and a new character, Rose, that I've seen a lot of people online complaining about. I didn't mind it. It definitely wasn't my favorite part of the movie, but I didn't think it was boring or out of place or bad. It was just different than what was going on with Rey and Luke and with Poe and with Kylo Ren, and it was different. It did not bother me a little bit. So, other negatives about the film, I wanted to see more from certain characters, and I won't say who because I don't want to spoil anything. Even by telling you who's not in it a ton. But there was one character in particular I definitely wanted to see more of, and I wanted to get more out of that I didn't get in this movie, and I'm hoping I will get it in the episode 9. I will be doing a spoiler-filled review that I will put out sometime this weekend after the movie's actually out in theaters for everybody to see, because as of now, it is not in theaters for everybody to see. So I will talk about that more in my spoiler review. But honestly, guys, those are really my only flaws. So with positives, I loved a lot of these characters. Still love Rey. Rey is so great in this movie. They do such a good job of building on to what you got in The Force Awakens. And again, I don't want to get into spoilers, so I don't even want to talk about some of the stuff that she gets into, but it is so great. I love the direction they've taken her character, and the same goes for Luke. If you've seen the trailers for this movie, you know she's spending some time with Luke on an island, and they have some great chemistry. Mark Hamill is absolutely fantastic as Luke Skywalker. He's just so good. He slips right back in almost just as well as Harrison Ford did as Han Solo. He does such a great job, and his character arc is, again, just like Rey's, wonderful, just absolutely great. Really satisfied with what they did with Luke in this movie. And then we get to Kylo Ren, who was my favorite character in The Force Awakens. Again, love what they did with his character. And the biggest thing about all of these characters that I love, they take them in directions that I wasn't expecting. There were so many times in the movie where the movie jolted in a direction that I was not expecting. Sometimes, like, really, really crazy things happened. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And that line from the trailer where Luke says, this is not going to end the way you think. That's true. I guarantee you that this movie takes so many twists and turns. You're going to be watching it and you're going to say, this is going to happen. And then it doesn't. Something completely different happens. And I love that about a Star Wars movie because, let's be real, these movies are pretty predictable. Most things that happen in Star Wars movies you can spot a mile away. Not in this one. This one definitely takes some chances. This is the ballsiest Star Wars movie I think they've ever made. And I'm really, really looking forward now to what Rian Johnson does next with the Star Wars mythos, because he did a great job directing this movie, an absolutely great job. I think there are definitely parts of his script that needed a little attention, but like I said, it wasn't anything I disliked. I think that there were just things that could have been cut, could have been changed a little differently to clean up the runtime, clean up the movie as a whole, but overall, Rian Johnson did an amazing job writing and directing this movie. And like I said, I just can't wait to see what he does next, whether it's in the Star Wars world or not. But anyway, guys, there's a lot to talk about. It's just a beautiful movie. I absolutely loved it. Like I said, there's a few little things that I loved, or that I didn't love, that I can talk about in my spoiler review. And those few little things, though, do not take away from 2.5 hours of a really, really good Star Wars movie. I don't know if I liked it as much as The Force Awakens, but The Force Awakens was also, it was a big deal. When it came out 2 years ago, it was the return of Star Wars. They're very different movies. If you're looking for the sequel to The Force Awakens to be exactly like The Force Awakens, this is not that movie. This is a very, very different movie. It's not a dark movie by any means. It's definitely got a lot of comedy, and most of the comedy hit pretty well for me. There weren't many jokes that didn't hit. So it's definitely got some light-hearted moments. It's not darkness, but it's not The Force Awakens. It's not that. And that's another thing that I love about this movie. It's different. It feels like Star Wars, but it's different. And I just can't wait for everybody to see it and for us to talk about it and to continue to love and adore Star Wars. Like, I'm very excited. This is a big step up from Rogue One, because if you've followed me for any amount of time on here, you know that I am not a Rogue One fan. So this definitely is a step in the right direction. I'm very, very happy, and I'm very excited to see it again tomorrow. Yay! So anyway, guys, that is my review and my thoughts on Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Like I said, I'm going to be seeing it a couple more times this weekend, and then I will be doing a spoiler-filled review, so be on the lookout for that. Also, be sure to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and comment below if you've seen the movie and you have thoughts on it. Keep it spoiler-free, or throw out a spoiler alert, but let's talk about the movie. I want to know what you thought about it if you've seen it. Well, anyway, guys, thanks as always for listening, and until next time, have a good one.